Hi, friends. Welcome back to another weekly tarot reading here from JUNODROME Intuitive Arts. My name is JP, and this is a weekly reading. So we're going to go through each of the zodiac signs and figure out what you can expect for the week ahead. This is going from January 1st, 2025, all the way until January 12th, 2025. So this is for the week ahead. What are the energies? What can you expect? If you're watching this after the fact, you can go down to the description section and find where in the reading your section is. In there, look for your sun, moon, and rising zodiac signs. All of those will give you a little bit of a different picture of what are some things you can expect for the week ahead. And all three of those together will put you on your trajectory to help you understand what to expect. So we're going to get straight in to figuring out, what do Aries need to know this week? So what can our Aries signs expect here? Aries, what can the Aries signs expect? Aries. One more for Aries. What can my Aries signs expect this week? Okay. All right, Aries, what's going on with you? This light is a little bright, but I can't move it. Let's just go from here. Pardon me, everybody, for the adjustments. I'm going to adjust this a little bit. There, that's a little bit better. Okay. All right. So what can my Aries expect this week? Well, it looks like there's movement happening for you this week, Aries, and it's happening in the realm of the physical world with the Knight of Pentacles. So first of all, with this card, you've got some changes and some movement happening in your physical world. Not necessarily changes, but there's movement. So the energy that you're being encouraged to really focus on this week is your physical body, focused on your home environment, the things around you that are happening in your physical world. That's going to be really important. Now, the parts of that that you need to pay attention to, I think, are maybe some things in your life right now that you're ready to cut out. So there actually could be some big changes that need to happen in your physical world around you. And this is a great week to do that, right? We're at the beginning of the year, and the beginning of the year is always a really good time to check in and see what are some things that you like that are there. What are some things you don't like, right? What are you ready to walk away from? Are you ready to move on from certain things? And so, Aries, I think this is a great week for you to kind of look and take stock at what is around you and ask yourself, okay, well, what is it time to move on a little bit from, right? Are you holding on to certain things that you don't need to anymore? This could be actual physical things, right? Like stuff. This could be a great time to declutter. It's not spring, but getting spring cleaning vibes, right? So there's a little bit of that going on here for you, I think. Also, Eight of Swords. Yeah. So you might be feeling a bit stuck right now. And I think a part of it really does have to do with the things that are around you. What does that mean exactly? It means, like, I think you're doing too much. I think you're holding too much. You're holding too many things, and you're balancing too many together, and it's keeping you feeling like you can't move forward. And so, Aries, I think that's why the movement is in the physical space. And it could be even, getting out too. You could be hauled up too much, and that's keeping you feeling stuck. You could be isolating yourself. So maybe get out there a little bit more. Because last up, you have the Nine of Cups, which is, really appreciating yourself and your own energy and being proud of yourself. So, Aries, this is a great week for you to try to be proud of yourself, to do what you can to celebrate who you are, to celebrate your accomplishments, to celebrate all of the good things about you, because there are plenty of wonderful things about you. This is a great opportunity this week to find those things, to cherish those things, to hold those things close. And to share love with yourself and with your community. So anyway, Aries, I hope that that's helpful. I think this is a great, excellent week for you to really kind of take stock of the things that are around you, make sure you're where you want to be. And if you want to make some changes, this is a great time to do that. So anyway, Aries, that's it for you. I hope you have an excellent week ahead. And we're going to move on to Taurus. Taurus, what can our Taurus expect this week? Taurus, what can my Taurus expect? Taurus. Is that good, Taurus? I think you need one more, Taurus. Taurus. Okay, there it is. All right. This one's hard to get. Okay. All right, Taurus, sun, moon, and rising signs. Got my moon shirt on. All right, what can our Taurus expect this week? So for Taurus, this week is going to be this week you're going to be kind of in control this week. I mean, you're always in control and responsible for your life, but this particular week is going to be one where you feel like you really are possible to. Kristen, hi, Kristen, welcome. I was just going to say I love the tank top. Thank you. I appreciate that. Taurus, this is a great time for you to really you're being encouraged to fully embrace the creator role in your own life because you are in the driver's seat here. And so this week is going to give you the tools at your disposal to really take the reins and move forward from a position of feeling confident in yourself and in your abilities. I think you're going to be really feeling kind of in your own wheelhouse enough. And so you really are being encouraged to take that energy and to run with it and to do as much as you can with it. Because I think you're going to be able to implement a lot of things into your life this week that are going to be really powerful and helpful in the long run. If you really take that confidence and run with it, because you have all of the power here with the Emperor. So this is a great week for you to prove that to yourself. So really, I think you're being challenged a little bit to prove to yourself just how much you are able to make things happen. You are able to do things. You are able to get out there. So really, test yourself a little bit, like do things that are a little bit outside of your expectations or your wheelhouse. Do things that are like a little bit harder than you think you can do, because you'll be able to do them. And then that can help you prove to yourself that you're as highly capable as you are, because I think you're far more capable than maybe even you're giving yourself credit for. Kristen says, Taurus riding, needed to hear this. All right. Starting a new job tomorrow, and I feel like I have all I have is the balls, so to speak, to get through it. Yeah, all right. Well, good. I mean, take it, because you can do it. You can definitely do this. With the Queen of Cups, this card is kind of showing that, within your own heart here is this like deep compassion. And that's a very powerful tool. And I think that in the world that we live in, a lot of times we're kind of taught, especially, with who we see succeeding these days, that our compassion is a weakness, but it's not. It's really not. It's actually one of the most strongest powers that we have. And so with these two together, the Emperor and one of the most compassionate people in this deck, you can be in your power and be this compassionate person at the same time. That those two things are not mutually exclusive. And I think that that's really important to remember. I mean, that's a big, big, big important lesson for all of us who are more spiritually minded to keep in mind, is that like sometimes we don't think that we can be this powerful person because we see these people in power who do such terrible things, and we kind of equate the two together, but they're not, right? That personal power and that force within us to create and make and do, that can be a deeply compassionate thing, and that we can be those together. And that's important to keep in mind. Now, with the Knight of Cups, there's movement happening as well in this reading for you this week, in this compassion, in this love energy. Melissa, hello, welcome, Melissa. Thanks for joining. I'm glad you're all here with us today. I'm sorry that I'm so much later than usual. I know it might be a bit late if anybody's on the East Coast. I'm not sure, but welcome everybody. So yeah, with this Knight of Cups, I do think that there is there's definitely movement in the compassion for you, Taurus, this week. And so really be compassionate with yourself, hold space for that. That's the meme, right? The wicked meme. We're holding space, right? We're holding space. But seriously, like you could be gentle with yourself this week, right? And there's movement in happiness, in compassion, in sharing love, and all of that. So, as you are putting that into your wheelhouse of pushing yourself and putting yourself out there, do it from a place of love, that you're loving yourself enough to know that you can succeed, and that success is a marker of self-love, right? Finally, we have the Five of Pentacles, which is um it's a give and a take with this card. And so I think, you are being encouraged here to be in balance, right? That some days you need help and it's okay to ask for that help, and then some days you are the one who can give help. And so this week, it could be a give and a take, and that's okay. So if you're in a position on one day to help someone, you're being encouraged to do that. And then if there's another moment this week where you need to ask for help, also do that. And that it doesn't mean one thing or another to be, some days we're the person who needs help and some days we're the person who can give help. And when we can be in that reciprocal balance of life with our loved ones and our family and friends and those around us, that keeps us feeling really good, right? Because we can be in that interconnectedness, and that as human beings, we need that interconnectivity. So anyway, Taurus, that was a bit of a longer one for you, but that's cool. We're going to move on. Next up, we've got, Kristen says, great advice. Thanks. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do you need to know this week? Let's see. Gemini. Okay. Let's do one or two more, Gemini. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising. Gemini. Okay. Do you want one more? Nope. Just three today. That's fine. All right, Gemini, what's going on with you? Okay. Gemini, you have the Magician. All right. So for my Geminis this week, this is a powerful week for you too. Interesting. I think for the collective, I think that this is actually kind of a week of movement for a lot of us. Uh, my auto thumbs up person agrees. This is an important moment for all of us here this week, collectively, to be in our power, right? We have real power to change things. I think that we're getting a lot of change and dynamic energy this week, and I think as a collective that's expressing itself differently for all the signs. But I do think collectively this week there's a big dynamic shift happening. So keep that in mind. You can take that energy and use it and move with it. Now, for Geminis here, you have the Magician, which is the ultimate creator. So he is able to balance all of the forces, the air, the earth, the fire, and the water, to create anything and to make any kind of magic happen. And so for my Geminis this week, I think that you have a powerful moment to open yourself up to this creative, magical force. So having access to that creativity and that magic, what will you do with it? What can you make with it? What are you going to get out there and create for yourself? Because there's so much power for that here for you. Now, you have the Death card. So there's a big, big ending happening for my Geminis this week. Now, the Death card can be scary, right? Because death is scary, and it's true. This doesn't always mean an omen for death, though, and so that's important to keep in mind. Usually the Death card means endings, because we're always going through little deaths in life, right? We're always changing, and endings are always happening for us. And so this week, I do think there's some kind of big, powerful ending happening, but I think it might be one that you're doing yourself. With this Magician card, I think this is like you harnessing the tools at your disposal to push and change your life in such a way where you are ending something big and moving into something new. And I'm doing this at the same time. We got this card here. And we got balloons. All right. So with the Hierophant, um, this card talks about traditions. It talks about the traditional religion usually, and so it can talk about ceremony. It can talk about um, it talks about kind of the old world way of doing things. It talks about the listening to the wisdom of the past. And so with that death card though, and the big powerful change and the Hierophant together, I think for you, I think maybe with the Hierophant there, it's time to shake out of old world thinking. I do think that. And I think especially, with this kind of Aquarius and Pluto energy, age of Aquarius energy that we're moving into, um, especially, Aquarius is this big sign and we're almost in Aquarius season. We're not there yet, but we're very close. Aquarius is all about this opening and feeling of um I'm sorry that I'm blanking on this. It's this new, it's this powerful new, like almost psychedelically new future alien way of doing things. And Gemini, I know that you're different than Aquarius, but I am getting a lot of Aquarius vibes for you as well. I mean, they're both air signs, and so I think Aquarius and Gemini can really get along together and understand each other on that level sometimes. But for you, Gemini, I think that you're taking the Aquarian view for yourself this week in order to move into something new. And I think that it's a really powerful place to be this week for you, where you can open yourself up to a new perspective and doing things in a different way. And so if you have an idea to do something, this is the week to just go and to do and to implement your plans, maybe silently, right? With the Hierophant, if you say those plans to certain people, they might not be well received, and not because they're bad, and not because those people are bad, but I think that you're channeling into the world right now something that is beyond the scope of imagination of many, many people. And so this is an important week for you to let go of those expectations and let go of what anybody else has to say, and to just sit down and do it, to channel those things into the world, because I think it's really important, whatever connection that you're having beyond this week that you're bringing into this world with the Magician card. It's talking about big major endings in those traditional ways of doing things. And so just silently start to implement those plans into life. I mean, you'll know this will resonate for you however it does, but you don't have to tell everybody everything that you're doing. Just get out there and start doing. And I think that the more that you start to do that, the more it'll just make more and more sense. And then it'll just end up being what it needs to be. And you don't need to kind of explain it to anybody. You can just let it happen. Kristen says, love this for our Gemini sister. She wants to start something completely new. It'll be hard for some to see her in a different light that is familiar to them, but she's doing it and it's fabulous. All right, that's great. That's really cool that it resonates that way. So yeah, anyway, Geminis, I hope you have an excellent week ahead. Whatever it is you're working on sounds pretty rad. So cool. I don't know. I'm just channeling this stuff. So we'll see where it goes. But yeah. Who's up next? Next, we've got Cancer. Cancer, Sun, Moon, and Rising. What do you need to know? Cancer. One more for Cancer, please. Thank you. All right. Cancer, you've got the Hermit card. Oh, and the Hanged Man card. Okay. Well, that's good, actually. So Cancer, and the Seven of Swords. Okay. All right. Cancer, I think this week, don't get lost by any naysayers out there, right? So we'll address the Seven of Swords first. There might be somebody in your life who makes a comment that rubs you the wrong way. If that happens this week, it's okay. First of all, it's okay. People are going to people always people, right? So don't get lost in your thought process when somebody else is doing something, saying something, does something, like there's always going to be somebody that has something to say that is really not appropriate to where you're at, and it might be something that you really just don't want to hear. And so if that happens this week, just hold on to your own inner light and your own inner being and do what you can to let it process through you and process out of you. You don't need to suppress anything or try to ignore anything. That's not going to work. But if you do get lost based on what other people are saying, you have some really great advice here. The tendency, I think, for you, if you end up in one of those kind of situations where somebody says something and it rubs you the wrong way and you feel bad about it, it's going to make you feel a bit stuck, right? But you can actually take that stuck feeling and use it to your advantage. And so I think that maybe this is coming in to teach you a little bit of a lesson here this week, Cancer, on how to learn how to regulate your own inner landscape in a way that is beneficial for you. So if you're feeling a bit like discombobulated and you can't stop thinking about what somebody said, use it as an opportunity to go off alone and figure out how to process some things in your own way, in a way that you can come back into a sense of feeling good about yourself on the internal, right? Because you have the Hermit card here too. So with these two together, I think this is an excellent week for you to go off on your own, do some inner landscape, some inner journey. And don't be afraid to go alone this week. This might not be a great week for going out there and putting yourself around a lot of people. This is probably a better week for you to feel, um, isolated is the wrong word, but the hermit, he goes off alone to learn things on his own. He does deep spiritual work by himself, and he's not afraid to be alone. And so I think that this is a good week for you to kind of like walk away, particularly if this is not something that's happened this week, but this is something that's kind of like been bouncing around, or you've had other people's opinions bounce around a little bit too much, and it's leaving you feeling a little bit not great about yourself, right? This is a great moment for you to kind of go back on your own a little bit and learn how to love yourself a little bit harder, to connect into yourself a little bit more, to feel more connected into your own inner self and your own inner landscape, so that you can feel better. And I think that the Hanged Man card is also sometimes about that, because yes, it's about being stuck, but the thing is, he has hung himself up onto this tree on purpose. This was not done by somebody else. This was not an accident. He set himself here in order to go through these deep, powerful spiritual journeys. He's going on, a vision quest, and using the stuck to get through that vision quest. And so, this might be actual powerful vision questing happening for you, Cancer, this week, but it might be coming from a surprising area. So if you feel like you're being triggered this week by a situation, somebody else, somebody's going on, take that trigger and use it as an investigation tool into your own inner landscape. And maybe you'll gain some deep, powerful wisdom about yourself, about your history, about where things are coming from, about where you've been, that could be really powerfully insightful moving forward, and put you in a completely different place that you wouldn't have been able to get to otherwise. So, yeah. So, anyway, Cancer, I hope that that's helpful. I hope you can take that and run with it in a powerful way, because I think that it'll be really helpful for you in the long run. Cancer, that's it for you. I hope you have an excellent week ahead. Even if you are dealing with any kind of tricky thing from somebody else, you know that you can move through it and you can come to another place from that. You really can. Okay, so next up we have, I always forget them, Leo. Leo comes after Cancer. Leo, let's see. What do my Leos need to know this week? Leo, sun, moon, and rising signs. Leo. Okay. 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 Any more? Oh, yeah. One more. Really wanted to come out. All right. Leo, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do you need? All right, Leo. So the one that shot across the room is the Eight of Wands, which is fast, swift moving energy. So Leo, you're moving fast this week. You know, you're moving from one direction to another, and it is a bullet train. So, Kristen, my favorite card. Yeah, it's a good one. Swift, fast moving energy, right? So we've got that in for you this week, and also with the Chariot, this is another like fast movement card. So a lot of moving happening. You might be moving. Some people take it as it resonates, but it also just means, you know, that the direction in the energy this week is fast, and so whatever's happening in your life, you know, it's taken off. So take that and run with it. You're really being encouraged to run with that energy because it's moving you towards victory, right? So you're on a roll. This is like um exponential momentum. You know, when you start to um push a tiny snowball down the mountain, it keeps growing and growing until it becomes the giant avalanche, right? So this is like giant avalanche energy happening here. So that momentum, you know, it's here. It's here. So the thing about the avalanche, right, is you start with something really, really small, and then it just starts to pick up that momentum on its own. And so this is a time for you to pick up that momentum and to run with it, to roll with it, to let it flow, and to move on and on and on and on from that energy. So you don't have to do very much big things, right? You just have to put in that small pieces, the small things, the small energy, and it will grow naturally. So you're being encouraged to take those small steps because they're going to lead you in a powerful direction. With the Empress card, yeah, this is a creative pregnancy, right? So this is like birthing a creative venture into the world, some kind of, you know, and creativity doesn't just have to be art, but it can be. But it can also be, you know, thoughts, ideas, inspirations. Powerful creative forces are moving around you, and opening up to be birthed into the world as you move forward. So you're being encouraged to dream big and to start the small steps to do that because it's really being opened up to you, Leo. Finally, we have the Queen of Cups, and so this is sharing compassion with yourself. So I think it's a big, important place for you this week is to share compassion with yourself, and that's kind of where the energies are moving for you too, you know, is to share that powerful compassion with yourself and with those around you. And I think that whatever it is you're working on, you know, is going to be inspiring to those around you on a happiness level too. So just keep moving, keep working with it. Kristen says, holy cow, Leo, sun, moon, north node. Wow, okay. I needed to hear this for this week. I just need to have the balls, go for it, take the next big step. Yeah, you could do it. Absolutely. Take that step and run with it. You know, you can make anything happen here. So you've got a lot of energy and that momentum is really, really here for you this week. It's just you know, step out there, step out there. All right. That was for Leo. Next up, we've got Virgo. Kristen, thank you so much. You're welcome, Kristen. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, Virgo. What do you need to know? I'm glad that it resonated so well. That's awesome. I love it when that happens. All right, Virgo. Virgo, lots of pentacles. So that's the earth realm. So that's the physical world. You got the Page of Pentacles. So you're learning something new this week in your day-to-day life. So for my Virgos out there, you might be changing the way that you do something in your routines this week. That's actually going to end up leading you to more happiness because the Knight of Cups is here as well. So for you, the energy and the movement happening in your life right now is one in a way of happiness. And so I think maybe, you know, if you're feeling Virgos, if you're feeling like you are overwhelmed by the mundane, if you feel like you're stuck in a loop where you're doing the same thing every day over and over and over again and you hate it, you be encouraged to learn how to change what your days look like. And that you have the ability to do that. That happiness is kind of trying to come into your life right now in a lot of different ways. And so if you can open yourself up to that happiness dynamic, there are things in your life here coming in to try to make that happen for you. So what can you do to learn how to change your habits, to change the small things in your day-to-day life? What are some tiny things you can move around in the day-to-day that can bring you closer to a sense of happiness for yourself? What are some small tweaks and twists and movements in your life that you can make that will open you up to feeling more at peace, more like, okay, I can do this, more like you're in a place where you can ultimately feel pretty good, right? What are some things you can do to tweak where you're at to put you in that place? Because you also have the Queen of Pentacles. So, you know, you have a lot of abundance opening up to yourself this week as well, and that you have a lot of power here to make the important shifts and changes necessary in your life to put you in a place of feeling more secure in your life. And I think that, I think that you're kind of I think you're already kind of in the wheelhouse here, Virgos, of that abundant energy. And so this is just a matter of really allowing yourself to be in your own wheelhouse in that area, if that makes sense, that you can, trust that the abundance is going to come in. What can you do to change some of the day-to-day things, the small things in your life, the small little things, the way that you go to work, the way that you do this, um, how often you do blah, 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 right? All these little tiny things in your life. What are some small shifts you can make on the day-to-day life scale that will open you up to feeling more at peace, and it could be really tiny shifts, but if you made like 300 tiny shifts, it might be exactly the big giant shift that you were looking for, right? So there could be a ton of tiny tweaks that you could make in your life that isn't something, that's still prioritizing whatever this abundance machine is that you're trying to make, or whatever that means to you. You don't have to change that necessarily, but you could change 100,000 other tiny things that would ultimately end up giving you way more happiness in your life. So just be open to making any kind of shifts and tweaks, because the more that you can do that this week, the more that I think you're opening yourself up to feeling better. And that will ultimately put you in a place of feeling good about yourself, about life, more than maybe you're currently feeling. Yeah. So, anyway, Virgo, I hope that that's helpful. I hope that you have a really good week ahead. And we're going to move on. All right. So, next up, we have. Who's up next? Brain. Libra. All right, Libra, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do my Libras need to know? Libra, sun, moon, and rising. All right, Libra, come on. Okay, there's, whoops, okay. Anything else, Libra? All right. Okay. All right, Libra. The first one that came out was the King of Wands. So this week you're kind of being a master manifester. You're a master at bringing in your passions into life. And so this week is really going to be you having the power and the tools at your disposal to put any kind of inspired action into practice, to take the dream and implement it in a way that makes sense into the physical life. Like, this is a great week for that, to take that passion that you hold in your heart and transform and transfer it into whatever you can do in your life to feel like you're capable of making things happen. This is a big, powerful week for you too. Um, Libra, this is actually a really, really powerful week because you have both the Justice card and the Judgment card here, which are both very, very powerful cards. So actually, to have both of these come out in this reading is pretty intense in a good way. Um, So this week is going to be about processing some things as well. I think that you're processing a lot of big, big things from the past. This week is going to put you face to face with maybe some past situation that at one point was leaving you feeling maybe hurt or broken or in one direction that was not amazing. Um, you're being given, though, a way to process that situation now this week where you've got a big perspective shift because that's what the judgment card talks about. So you're changing the way that you see something that happened before, and you are learning how to see that now based on all of the things that you've learned since then. And so who you are now is so vastly different than the person you were when this intense thing happened in your past. And you don't have to look at it from the eyes that you had back then, that you can view your memories from your current self, your adult self, your mature self, your wise self, and you can share that wisdom with your past self. And I think for Libras here, this is going to be a big important week for doing that kind of work, even though that kind of work can be really challenging and difficult and not always the most fun thing to do. I think that you would do yourself a big service by sharing that compassion with your younger self, by freeing them a little bit of that pain of, of blame, of self-hate, of self-loathing that might be associated with going through a situation in the past that maybe wasn't their fault, right? Wasn't your fault. And you might be able to see that now in a way that you weren't able to see then. And so you can share that wisdom with yourself in that way, and that opens you up to feeling almost forgiveness. I think that you might be in a position to forgive yourself over something this week, and that can be really powerful and really profound for you in the long run. Because with the Justice card too, it's sort of like, it talks about karma, and it talks about how, there is a balance of energy, and um, that you can share that balance with yourself, right? And then you can share this love and compassion with yourself in a way that can help you on a larger level here. I hope that that makes sense. But I think that this is going to be a big, big, powerful week for that kind of work for you, Libra. So open yourself up to it. If that's too much for you, then that's too much for you. But you would do a lot of growing if you have the capacity to open yourself up to that. That you're being offered that kind of gift right now, should you choose to accept it. And ultimately, in the long run, I think that that's going to help you feel a sense of justice for yourself moving forward on a really intense level. And then ultimately, you have a new beginning here in happiness, and you're learning how to be happy on a new way and in a new plane. And so I think that by sharing that sense of forgiveness with yourself, you free yourself and you give yourself this fresh slate energy. And I think by the end of the week, you're kind of in this fresh state to be able to move forward from a place of feeling good um, in the long run. So anyway, I hope that that makes sense. That was Libra. Libra, I hope you have a great week, and I will. Yeah, I'm rooting for you. All right, we're gonna move on now to Scorpio. So Scorpio, Sun, Moon, and Rising signs. What do my Scorpios need to know this week? Scorpio. Okay. Scorpio. Sun, Moon, and Rising. Scorpio. There it is. All right. Scorpio. You got the Magician too. Who got the Magician? I think Gemini got the Magician. All right, Scorpio. So Scorpio, you have a powerful week too. We all kind of there's a lot going on this week for all of us collectively. And so when we get to the collective message, I could do some more collective channeling, but I do think as a collective, we're going through a serious energy push right now, and that the energies are moving very fast, and catapulting us into the future on a whether we're ready or not kind of a thing. It's like we're pushing and we're moving, and change is the marker of reality. That change is always happening and will continue to happen whether we want it or not. And so I think we're going to be experiencing a lot of change this week. And so take the time to ground yourself if you need to. I think that's important. For Scorpios here, with the Magician card, you have tremendous power, and you can channel that power and do with it what you will, but you can take that power and move in this world in a way that is profound, and open and creative and intense. Whatever you need in life, you can do it. So open yourself up to that. Open yourself up to feeling like anything is possible. Open yourself up to the idea that you can make things happen. Open yourself up to the idea that you are a powerful person who can do whatever they want, right? What do you want to do? This is a week where you can start to do that and start to implement it. You have the Eight of Pentacles, which is putting in work somewhere. So I think you've been putting in a lot of work in a lot of areas, and you're probably going to keep putting in work in more areas. And that's okay. That's kind of what's being asked of you here. And that's excellent. How can you continue to put in work in certain areas? And, it's always the grind. But as you continue to work hard at something, you will see the results of it. With the Six of Pentacles, you're gonna have a period. That's not Victor. Which one is this one? It's hard sometimes with the art to remember which one's which. Well, I'm just taking this with this loaf of bread. It's not the 7. That's the 7. Uh, well, you're baking bread here. No, I think that's actually the. All right, I gotta look it up. Sorry, guys. That's embarrassing. Oh, okay. It is the balancing one. All right. So, well, for you guys, you know, life's a give and a take. As you continue to work on these projects, you can make anything happen, but sometimes you're not the only one who can do it, right? Sometimes you got to work with other people. And so sometimes the magician knows that they themselves are not quite enough. They can do anything, but they know that sometimes it's easier to build a team to do things. And so if you need to ask for help on something, do it. If you don't know how to do something, ask somebody who knows and learn how to do it. Sometimes the magician has to work on that plane too. The magician knows what they are and are not currently capable of, and they will do what they need to do to open themselves up to making it happen. Thumbs up from my auto thumbs up generator. So there you go. So, really take the time to get out there and to put yourself out there and to make whatever you need to have happen this week, because you have the tools ready for it. You have the capability. It's just about the action. And the magician takes action as well. And so just keep putting in the hard work on those places. And when you need help, find it, because the help is out there. And if you're ready to start looking for help, this is a great week for that too, because you never know who's out there working on the same thing that you are, who's been waiting for you. Somebody out there might be waiting for you the way that you're waiting for somebody else. So take the time to find that person, because they might be out there. You never know. All right. That was Scorpio. We're going to move on now to Sagittarius. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do my Sagittarius need to know this week? Okay, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. Sagittarius. Okay, that it? That's it. All right, Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising. All right. Oops. Okay, Sagittarius, you are having an Ace of Pentacles moment here. What does that mean? It means this is a new beginning for you in the physical world. So I think that there's some big changes happening for you, Sagittarius, this week in your environment. So this could be a new job, new house, new place of living, new body. You might be a robot in a new robot body. And obviously, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. uh, you know, new physical something, whatever that means to you. So open yourself up to that idea. If you're not, in a position to start a new job, then this might not be that, right? So just take this as it resonates for you. But there's some change, it could be a new diet. That's a thing. You could be changing the food that you eat. You're trying to eat healthier, that kind of thing. This is a good week for that. With the Temperance card, there's more positive things in your life at your disposal right now than you currently realize. And that's important to remember. Um, this is about making lemonade when life throws you those lemons. And that's not always the message that people want to hear. And trust me, I don't want to hear that either. So I understand that. But with this card, you are capable of balancing these forces. You can mix and merge and create for yourself anything that you need in this life. And sometimes the very things that you don't like that are thrown at you, that you think are not good for you, could actually be something shifted and changed into something really beneficial. So it's not always clear what that is. This could be a blessing. It's big blessings in disguise energy. So sometimes there are blessings in life that are harder to see than others. And so you're being encouraged this week to keep that in mind because you never really know. So open yourself up to the idea that there could be some blessings in your life when you don't see it. And that usually what that takes is it takes a new perspective. And so you are being encouraged to take a new thought process on certain things in life and to open yourself up to the idea that maybe things are better than you think. Maybe there's more opportunities in life than you think. Rejection is projection, yo. Kristen says, yeah, absolutely it is. Maybe that, maybe that um, denial letter from that job or whatever is actually exactly what you wanted because maybe that place was terrible. You never know. Maybe being asked to move is something that's needed. Helga says, hi, new here. Hi, welcome. Thanks for joining us. We're doing readings based on the zodiac signs. Right now we're on Sagittarius. So welcome. Glad to have you here. So anyway, Sagittarius, you never know. Something that seemingly seems like you don't want it might actually be really, really good in the long run. So open yourself up to that because there's positive change here for you this week. The Eight of Cups is here for you as well, which is giving you um, an openness and more love is coming your way. I mean, look at this guy here. He's got this like really great cup at his disposal, and he's on that tightrope, so it's a balance. But he wants to give you this love. He's ready to walk for that. And the Eight of Cups traditionally is about walking away from certain things too. And so it's interesting to see this here with the balancing energy because usually this card means that the cups that you have so far, they're not quite feeling it anymore and you're ready to walk away. And sometimes that is a balance. Sometimes that's a delicate balance to figure out what in life are we ready to walk away from and what in life are we happy to have. But we got to make that tightrope walk sometimes. And I think it really does. Walking away from certain things I think is interesting here, because I think especially with that rejection is protection message too. um you know this could be you rejecting something to walk towards something new and better. um and that ultimately that might seem scary in the short term, but in the long term that could lead to some really powerful and profound places. And so opening yourself up to that could be really helpful and important in the long run for you. So keep that in mind. Finally, we have the Queen of Pentacles. So Really, abundance energy is super, super huge here. Kristen says, yes, yeah, absolutely. You know, abundance is here for you. And you're a very abundant person. So you can trust that that flow of abundance is part of you. It has more to do with who you are or how you walk out of the house than it does to do with your job, right? So just keep that in mind that the power is coming from you and you can transfer that power wherever you need to. And if you're not feeling it in one place, you can go and find a place where you are feeling it because you're worth it. You're worth doing that. You're worth trusting yourself enough to know that you can find whatever you need for yourself and you can build into your life anything that can be powerful and profound and loving and wonderful. And if the world around you doesn't look that way, you can go find the world that will feel that way for you, right? Because the inner world and the outer world reflect one another. So if you can build a powerful force within of love and creation and joy that is stronger than any negativity around you, then you'll start to see and filter into your life around you those things too. And you'll at least know, like, okay, I can't stand this stuff that I'm around anymore. I can't stand this perspective. I can't stand this blah, 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 whatever. I'm going to go out. I'm going to find things that are good for me, that are better for me, because that's what I need. And I'm open to that. And it's okay to do that. It's okay to be that. It's okay to go out and find those things. And you have all of the tools at your disposal to make that happen. So go ahead and get out there and do it, because you can. And it's powerful, it's profound, and it's going to take you to some good places. So anyway, who is that? Sagittarius. That was a good reading for you. I hope you have a great week ahead. It seems like it is. It seems like it's a good one for you, I think. And we're going to move on. All right, who's next? I need water. I'm going to grab some water. I have it right over there. Just give me one moment, everybody. Oh, I'm getting over a cold, like I was saying, and so the readings are taking it out of me a little bit more than they usually do. But that's a good sign. It means I'm channeling. So I'm giving you real messages here. All right. Who do we have next? Capricorn? We're almost through these. All right. Capricorn. What do my Capricorns need to know this week? All right. Capricorn. What do you think, Capricorn? Where are you at? I got one. Capricorn. Kristen says, "Oh, you're 1,000, whatever number that is, percent channeling." Yeah, I am. Don't ask me to repeat what I said because it's in the brain, out the mouth, and it's gone. 2 cards. And there it is. Okay. All right, Capricorn, where are you at this week? Oh, you got the sun. Great. Capricorn, I feel like the last couple of weeks, not that it's been rough for you, but you always have kind of an interesting vibe, Capricorn. So I'm glad to see the sun for you. I think that that's really helpful. This is a bright, beautiful new day. So this week is going to have a lot of opportunities for happiness and joy and creative feelings, right? So you really are being encouraged to embrace that and embrace the love, embrace this feeling of peace, of creation, of joy, of loving happiness, right? All of those things, because it's a bright new day for you. So wherever you're at, just know that the sun is here for you. You have the temperance card too. Somebody else got that. So, this may actually be an intense kind of moment that you've been in. You might not have been in the most joyful situations. I don't know why I'm thinking that, but I'm kind of feeling that, right? So if you haven't been, this is a great week. Honestly, this is a great week to take a pause. I really am feeling that for you, Capricorn. Don't feel like it's necessary to push too hard this week, because you have the 8 of the Eight of Swords, which is feeling stuck. So especially if you've been feeling stuck, don't try to push through it this week. There's no sense. I think if you try to push, you're just going to keep feeling stuck. So don't. Embrace the stuck energy and just take a step back. This is a perfect week for you to just take a break. Take a break. I know that it doesn't feel like it would be the time for that because, we've just had the holidays and maybe you just had a break and you're like, well, how can I take a break when I just had a break? And, you know, doesn't matter. Give yourself that break because I think you need it right now. So take a step back and just do some fun things. What are some fun little happy things you can do? And yeah, if you have to meet your obligations, you have to meet your obligations. That's fine. Do the bare minimum though. You don't have to work super, super, super hard this week. Just get everything you need to get done. Don't do anything extra. Don't put anything extra on your plate. Do only the things you bare minimum have to do. And then everything else this week should be focused on joy. What are some fun little joyful things you can do for yourself? Maybe this means go to the beach. Yeah, is it cold? Yeah, but like go to the beach anyway. You know what I mean? Take for you. If you don't have a beach near you, go to the forest. Go do something silly and fun. Go ice skating, go skiing, go jogging in the woods. I don't know. Go do something. Do something outside, wherever you are. I mean, obviously, it's not winter in all of the world, but I think most of my people are in the northern hemisphere. But even then, some of you live in California. I don't know. I'm in Washington State. It's not snowy where I am. It's wet and rainy. So, whatever. But I think that you've got the sun on your side here. So go out there, get some nice, sunny, fun things. You got the temperance card, like somebody else got this one as well. So this is about making lemonade out of the lemons that life throws you. So if things aren't all going your way, you don't have to take that as a reason of why things are bad. Instead, you can try to transform that in your head and take it as a message to give you an opportunity to do things differently, to change the way that you're living. This could be the blessing in disguise that we talked about before. The rejection is a protection that Kristen was talking about, right? You could have a little bit of that going on here too. So, don't feel too bad about things feeling stuck or feeling whatever. Just take a break. Take a break and have some fun this week. And you might be feeling a little bit more ready to get out there next week, right? And like I was saying before, I do think collectively the energies are very, very intense right now. And so that could be acting on you in maybe a negative way that's actually making you feel pretty stuck. And like Capricorn, because when we're talking about the Pluto and Aquarius stuff, like that's very outside of your wheelhouse. And so things might be feeling Sean says, hello. Hey, welcome, welcome. We're doing some tarot here based on the zodiac signs. Right now, we're in Capricorn. So welcome, welcome. So Capricorn, new subscriber. Oh, thank you so much for subscribing. I really appreciate that. Thanks. It's great. Yay, yay. So yeah, anyway, Capricorn, it's a little bit outside of your wheelhouse, this Pluto and Aquarius energy. I'll watch Leo. Yeah, Sean, if you rewind or you watch this later, either one, I got to Leo. Let's see, I started with Aries. So Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo. Fifth. Leo is fifth. Yeah, so this Pluto in Aquarius energy, it's very much outside of your energy, right? The Capricorn Aquarius cusp is very challenging because those two signs are very clashing in ideology, and especially when we look at them on the world stage. Moving from the era of Capricorn to the era of Aquarius is a very intense change. And so things are going to be moving in a way now that are a little bit outside of your wheelhouse and maybe that they were more in your wheelhouse before. And so if you're dealing with any of that kind of shift and change, whatever you can do to ground yourself to feel back into this moment is going to be really, really important because things are going to start happening in unconventional ways. And Capricorn is a very conventional approach kind of a sign. And so, do whatever you can to feel grounded and to feel present and to do what you know you can do in these moments to help you feel better about that. If you're feeling any of that kind of shift, because I know that these are challenging moments for your sign in particular. So just, do what you can to share compassion with yourself and to make yourself feel comfortable in the moment. And obviously, take that as it resonates. Those, as much as those big era movements are generational things and we're moving through them, you don't have to take it for everything. You know, it's just a little bit of a clashing sort of a thing for you, but not like huge. It's just that things are going to be a little bit more unconventional and that might stress you out a little bit. So just, do whatever you can to come back to the center and come back to yourself. So anyway, Capricorn, I hope that that's helpful, and happy birthday to all my Capricorns, all my late Capricorns. We're going to move on. So next up we have Aquarius. Yeah, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising signs. What do my Aquariuses need to know? Yeah, that's it. All right, Aquarius, what's going on with you this week? Aquarius, you got the devil. All right, the devil came up a bunch last week too. Interesting. Not something to be too scared of, but he talks about bad habits mostly. And sometimes these are like the little tiny little bad habits, and sometimes these are like the really bad ones. It just depends on you and your life and your situation. So don't get too freaked out about it. But this week you might feel a little bit tempted. You might feel tempted to do things in an old way, to recirculate old patterns that you've already moved out of, right? You might be moving through those kinds of things. And if that's happening to you, that's okay, right? That's okay. Stay present with yourself. You don't have to fall back on old habits. Even if you feel tempted by old habits, that doesn't mean you have to go and you have to follow them. So if any of that kind of thing comes up, just catch it and be with yourself. Now, this might be the habit to take on many things and too many things without being able to actually implement and do those things. So, you might be really tempted to try to start 10,000 projects this week, Aquarius, because all of that powerful energy is here and you're rearing and you're ready to go. So like, well, I can do that and I can do this and I can. That might be where this devil card comes in, right? You take on 12 projects, the energy shifts. Oh, shoot, I've got 12 projects I'm working on, right? So, um, don't try to do 12. Why don't you just do these 3, right? Look, he's got 3 in his hand and a ton on his back. You can put the back down, you can go find that later. Work on the 3 and let everything else go, right? So I think that'll be really important for you this week because you do have the Ace of Cups, which is, it's talking about being compassionate and sharing love and joy, right? A new start in joy. And so maybe this could be a really great opportunity for you to share compassion with yourself and happiness with yourself by giving yourself a lighter load this week. So, yes, I do think you feel inspired and you want to do something. You should do something, right? Do. But focus, keep it focused, keep it strategic, strategize on what it is that's important to achieve and find that capacity that you have and target, and then take targeted steps and targeted actions this week. And I think that if you do that, and you funnel in all of that joy and excitement and energy into one kind of train of thought, I think that it will ultimately lead you in a really powerful and profound direction that could be huge for you. Instead of trying to do 10 things and then being scattered and then not getting any of that stuff done, really being targeted this week, as hard as that is, forcing yourself to be super targeted will ultimately lead you in a really positive direction, in the direction that you really want to end up in, and could put you in a place that is really good for you. So open yourself up to that. And last up, we have the Queen of Wands. So this is powerful manifestation energy. And I think that this is a powerful week for you, Aquarius, to be able to manifest things, to bring things in, to really put it out there and make things happen. So do that, right? If you can do it, do it. Give yourself the power to manifest things and bring them into the world. But choose choose one thing, manifest one thing. And I think if you can do that, you'll be able to put it together, right? So anyway, Aquarius, that's my reading for you. I think it's going to be a really powerful week for you, but just you're encouraged to focus. So make sure that you keep a clear head and a clear focus on where it is you want to go. And I think it's going to take you in that direction. It's really, really powerful. All right. Last up, we have Pisces. Pisces. What do my Pisces need? All right, Pisces. You got a lot of cards. That's fine. Pisces has a lot to say. That's okay. Always does. Let's see. What do we need, Pisces? Oh, there it is. Okay, Pisces. Ace of Pentacles. You've got a new beginning in the physical world. So you might be starting a new job or moving to a new location or starting a new diet, eating different things, right? Somebody else got the Ace of Pentacles this week too. I can't remember who it was. So it could be a part collective energy for us as well, right? That keeping a new focus on the physical world is going to be really helpful for us collectively, I think, this week, but for you in particular, Pisces. So take that for you. Take it as it resonates. What can you do to feel good about the life that you're living? What can you do to help yourself feel good about your own personal life? One thing you can do is get some rest. So you're being encouraged with the Four of Swords to get enough sleep, to get enough rest, to make sure that you're sleeping when you need to, that you're lying down when you need to, that you're putting yourself inside of a box when you need to, like this guy. Just joking, obviously. But maybe you've been working outside of the box for so long that it's a good week to just shut the brain off a little bit and be a little conventional. Could be, who knows? If we're thinking inside of the box, sometimes we need to be conventional, right? So it could be a good moment for you to not feel like you have to do something big and crazy and dazzling and proving yourself and any of that. This could just be a great week to just do, right? To do the bare minimum to get things done, kind of like Capricorn's message a little bit. To just get what you need to get done and then have a nice time to rest and get enough sleep and get on out there. Now, with the Two of Wands, this is like a great moment for you to travel as well. New travel with the Ace of Pentacles and this together. You could be going somewhere, Pisces. You could be encouraged to take a trip, maybe take a drive, go somewhere, take a small trip, small drive, go visit a mountain, go to a national park, go to the forest, go outside more. Could be a little bit of that, but this can also be internal journeys as well. So this could be about taking some internal journeys too, viewing your inner landscape a little bit more, viewing your mind a little bit deeper, taking some deep-minded moments as well. So if you're feeling like you want to do that, this is a good week for that. Finally, you got two knights. So you've got energy movement in the pentacles, which we've already talked about, which makes sense. So there's movement in your physical life, in your physical world this week, but also in the cups. So in your compassion. So I think, just make sure that you have compassion for yourself this week as you're trying to rest more. You're doing the things you need to do to feel better about yourself. I think the more that you can do that, the more that it will help you feel like you have a stable footing and you can feel good about yourself. And then the final little takeaway for you, Pisces, is to make sure that you are open-minded enough to see the gifts that the universe is giving you, because the universe has been trying to give you a lot of beautiful blessings, um, and then maybe you're not paying attention to them, right? So there's some aspect of you not being able to see the beautiful things that are trying to come into your life because they don't look the way that you think that they should look. So try to alleviate as many expectations as you can in your mind, because those expectations could be blinding you from seeing the beauty that life has to offer. Sometimes when we think that things have to be a certain way, It stops us from being able to see new things and to do new things. And I think with this Ace of Pentacles here, it's a powerful moment of change for you, of new beginnings, and a part of that needs to come from the mind. It needs to come from seeing things differently and opening to a new perspective. And the universe can't really give you a gift if you aren't open-minded enough to be able to see and receive it. And so just make sure that you're not being closed-minded this week, that you're open-minded enough to not um, block any kind of opportunity that's been trying to come to you. And the good thing about opportunities is even when you block them and even when they go away, it's not like that's all the opportunities that will ever happen, right? Plenty of opportunities are being sent to you all of the time. So if you can open your mind to them, once you start to see them, then they can start to come in easier. So yeah, anyway, Pisces, I hope that that's helpful. We're going to do the collective reading. And I think for this, I'm not going to pull any cards this week, but we're just going to dive right into it. So, collective. What's your sign, Juno? Kristen asked that. I am a Gemini sun, Aquarius moon, and a Scorpio rising. So when I tune in and watch these readings after, I watch the Gemini first, and then I watch the Scorpio, and then I watch the Aquarius. And it's funny because a lot of times those three will end up being a little bit similar, but I hope that's not bias. All right, collective. What's going on, collective? Big themes this week for us are the rapid movement of energy. I think that's really, really huge. So, Kristen says, I can totally see it. Cool, cool, cool. There's a lot of change in the world right now and in our lives right now. And, the thing about change that's important is change is neither good or bad. It just is. And it's also kind of the only inevitable thing that we have in life is change. The world will continue to change whether you want it to or not. And so if you can open up your mind to it and be open to the changes and the movement that happens regardless, it's a bit of a liberating act to be able to do that. And it's not easy, but it is kind of necessary to be able to open up to it. And like I said, it's neither good nor bad. So you can't bank on everything getting better always, and you can't dwell on everything getting worse always, right? It's just not how it works. It's just going to become something different. And so, whenever we get stuck in something, we're not going to be stuck in it for very long. We might be stuck in it for a time, but it won't be forever. And so as things continue to move, this particular week, I think, is a big, big, big shift. And I don't know what that means or where that's going, but I do think that we can take that energy and we can ride it in a direction. So if you've been looking to make some shifts and changes in life, I think this is a good week for that. So open yourself up to that, I think, this week. Another big thing from the week from everybody has been compassion as well. So, big importance in self-compassion for everybody out there this week. Make sure that you are being kind to yourself and into your community and to those around you. But sometimes, and sometimes the most compassionate thing we can do for other people is to remove ourselves from a situation. So that's important to keep in mind too. Obviously, that's not everybody all the time, but just, if you're in a situation with somebody where it's a challenging dynamic with another person, sometimes we can be nice to them, but sometimes, pretending like there's no problem and just say, la la la, whatever, that's not necessarily compassion, right? So that's important to keep in mind. So when I say being compassionate to others, I don't necessarily mean like pretending like there's no problems either, right? Just important to remember. But having real compassion for yourself, I think, is going to be very important on a deeper level, because it's going to help you feel more comfortable and more like you are in a place of feeling good about yourself, right? And it might be needed. It might be needed a little bit extra this week. I don't know why, but that's just what I'm feeling intuitively. So, give yourself a hug. I'm hugging myself right now. That kind of thing. I think the more that we can do that this week, I think it'll help. I think so. And anything else? I'm just going to do a quick, we're going to do, this is fun, more channeling stuff. All right, let's see. Am I seeing any symbols? I am. What is that? That's, which planet has the 4 symbol? I think that's Jupiter. Let me look up Jupiter symbol. Yeah, that is Jupiter. All right, what's going on with Jupiter? Where is Jupiter right now? Jupiter constellation location. Taurus. Jupiter and Taurus. I don't know what that means, but Jupiter's important this week. Any of my Aquarius people out there? Not Aquarius. Any of my astrology people out there? What's going on with Taurus? I don't know. I don't know it enough, but it popped into my head. So something about Jupiter is important. So I don't know. Contact your astrologers. Go out there, look and see. Maybe there's something going on. What is Sky saying? Anybody else watch him? What is this? Astrology Sky. What is his Esoteric Sky? Anybody watch him? I didn't mean to do that. He's one of my main astrology people. I'm not sure. I don't know what's going on with Jupiter, but there's something going on with Jupiter this week. So apparently that's important. Anything else? Okay, let's see what else. Any more messages for everybody? What else am I seeing? I saw a deer. Oh, and then I'm seeing a person who is meditating. Okay, so deer with antlers, talk about like antenna, being able to channel things in. And then with a meditating person, I think that it's important this week to maybe do some meditation work, and a couple of the zodiac signs got messages about that kind of thing, about taking some time for themselves and some time alone and doing some spiritual work. I think that that's going to be important. So take some time for meditation. There could be communications trying to come in into the world, into you. So if you are somebody who likes to do kind of that kind of channeling work or that kind of thing, that could be important. But also just taking some time for meditation could be important for the collective as well. All right, everybody. I don't think I'm going to open up private readings today. I apologize for that, but I'm overcoming illness and I need rest. So thank you, everybody, so much for tuning in. I really appreciate everybody who's here. Thank you so much to all the regulars. I appreciate you. Kristen and Melissa, thanks for coming in every single week. I'm so thankful for you guys. It's so great. Kristen says, thank you so much, Juno. I hope you feel better soon. Thank you. I appreciate it. And welcome to Shen and Helga. I'm glad you guys both found it tonight. That's great. And anybody else who's tuned in, thank you so much for tuning in. I love all of you. Thanks to my regulars. Thanks to my dad. He's always watching. If you're watching, hey, I love you. And Kelly, hey, if you're watching too. And yeah. So everybody, I will catch you later. And now that the holidays are over, I'm ready to start in on creating more YouTube content. So watch out for that on the channel as well. Way more shorts, way more pick a card readings coming up. If there's ever any kind of format that you want from this channel as well, please don't hesitate to let me know. I'm considering starting the vertical lives as well. I've heard that vertical lives are actually way more popular than these horizontal lives, but I will always continue to do this horizontal live on Sundays, doing this particular zodiac reading. This is the only zodiac stuff I do, and I think people enjoy it. So I will always keep that here as this, but I think that I'm also going to try to figure out some time to just do some spontaneous coming on whenever vertical lives. So we'll start doing that too. I've been trying to do that with TikTok as well, but TikTok might get banned in the US in the next few weeks. So if that goes away, honestly, that means I can just focus on one platform, and then that's better for everybody. But whatever. I can figure it out as it happens. Who knows? TikTok, I mean, it's surprising. I've been getting more views there than I get here, which is weird. I used to get more here, but life and changes and everything's moving everywhere. So anyway, if you ever have any suggestions for me, I'm an open book. I'm open ears. Love to hear your ideas, and plenty more coming in the future. So yeah. Anyway, I will catch you all later. Bye.